Hi guys, I'm Kendall Lawrence. Welcome back to my channel, Head Chef Mom. I'm really hungry today. I just got home from church and I made the mistake of not eating anything before I went to church. So I'm ready to tear some stuff up today. I'm gonna make some cube steak. So let's take a look at the ingredients and just jump right in so that I can get eating. So here are our ingredients. Of course, we've got some cube steak, and I soak the cube steak in milk for about 4 hours. That's a little secret that I use to tenderize it, because cube steak can be kind of tender. I also do that with liver too. So even people who don't like liver, when you soak it in milk, it mellows out the flavor and it makes it really tender. So soaked it in milk, and I seasoned it with some Chef of the Future Floridian rub-and seasoning. I really like this stuff. It's got a little bit of salt in it, and it's got some sugar, some onion, some espresso coffee, some garlic, some chipotle flavor, some cocoa, and some paprika, and some natural smoke flavor in it. And I have got onion powder on the cube steak, and I have garlic powder on the cube steak, and I'll be using some beef broth to make my gravy. I've got some flour for my gravy. I've got some onions that I'm going to put in the gravy. We'll be using some Worcestershire sauce in the gravy and a little bit of sugar. Now I've got flour here for breading my cube steak. So, come on in a little bit closer, Frank. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bread my cube steak. And I'm going to season my flour a bit with some salt, a couple pinches of salt, and some black pepper. Get it kind of brushed around in there. And I'm just going to take my meat. It's already been seasoned. I explained what I seasoned it with. Press some flour in there. Move it over to another pan. And I've got a lot of meat here because I'm not cooking dinner tomorrow. This is going to be for today and tomorrow. So I'm going to get all of this breaded up and come right back and we'll start the cooking process. Okay, so I've got my hot oil, vegetable oil in a pan, and I've got my steaks all breaded up with flour, and I'm putting my steaks in the pan. I don't want to crowd the pan too much. And I'm going to let these brown on each side, about 3 minutes per side, I guess. We don't want to cook them all the way through because we're going to cook them in the gravy. And you can just take a peek. And they're starting to get nice and brown on one side. And when they get brown, I'm going to flip them over, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to get all of these fried up, not cooked completely through because we're going to cook them in the gravy, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's what my meat looks like after I browned it up on each side, and it's not cooked all the way through. So now it's time for us to make the gravy. So I've got all of this wonderful pan drippings in the pan that will flavor our gravy. So I'm going to take some flour, got an onion in there, and sprinkle it around in the pan. And I still have a little oil from where I browned the meat. And if you want, you add as much flour as you want gravy. So if you want a little bit of gravy, or if you want a thin gravy, you'll add just a little bit of flour. If you want a thicker gravy and you want a lot of gravy, then you'll add more flour. And so you just stir it around in the pan. And this is pretty brown because my drippings were brown, and so I want a nice brown gravy. And I'm scraping up all the stuff that's stuck to the bottom of the pan. And I'm going to go ahead and add my onions. And I'm going to add a little bit of butter. Get it all fried around. And now I'm going to add some broth to the mix. And I'll just let it thicken up. And I'll continue to do this, and I'll continue to add flour if I want it thicker, if it's not getting as thick as I want, and add more broth. And so I'll be back in just a sec. So my gravy's gotten thicker. I'm going to add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. And I'm going to season it up with some salt. And some pepper. And I forgot to take it out, but I'm going to put just a little bit of dry wine in it. And I'll be right back. Okay, it's looking nice and rich. I've got some dry white wine. A lot of people with beef, I think, prefer to put red in, but I don't really think it makes much of a difference. Just put in what you have. And I'm going to get a few more onions in there because I like onions. And let them cook down. And this is thicker than what I'm going to end up with. I'm going to add more broth, but what I'm doing now is cooking my onions down. Alright, and I'm going to thin it out some with some broth. And this is a really rich gravy. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my meat to the pan, and I'm not going to put any more seasoning in the gravy because remember we seasoned the meat, and so I'm going to wait and taste to see if I need to adjust my seasonings at the end. So I'm going to get all of my meat in the pan, and I'm going to put a lid on it and let this simmer for about a half an hour, 30-35 minutes, and I'll be back to adjust my seasonings and to taste. Be right back. Okay, so we're all done. What I did was I let it simmer for about half an hour, 35 minutes, and I added a smidgen more salt and a little bit more Worcestershire sauce, and it was perfect. And here's how it turned out. This is my cube steak with gravy and onions, and let's give it a taste. Looks good. That's very flavorful. The wine and the Worcestershire sauce really make the gravy. So if you try this recipe, please don't leave those two items out. If you don't like to cook with alcohol, use a little bit of cooking wine. That works too. Just put less salt if you use cooking wine because cooking wine is really salty. The onions are great. I love onions. I put a lot of onions in there. I taste some garlic. All the seasonings. It's perfect. It's tender. And you know, cube steak is not one of those tender cuts of meat. Actually, it's a tough meat, and the cubing process kind of helps to tenderize it. But soak it in that milk and you'll see it makes a difference. And if you're a liver eater, do that with the liver too. Really good. Okay guys, thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate you stopping by my channel and visiting me again and sharing a recipe together. And I hope you'll come back and see me on Wednesday. Please try this recipe. I'm going to serve this up with some homemade mashed potatoes and some broccolini this evening. And if you want to check out how I make my homemade mashed potatoes with cream cheese, then check me out on Wednesday. I'll have a video posted early on Wednesday. Let me see. I like to always try to do a shout out. Go check out a cook called, what is the name of it? Know Nothing Cook. Know Nothing Cook. He's a wonderful cook. He has a small channel, and he is an absolutely wonderful cook, and I'll put a link to his channel in my description box. And last week he cooked some black rice couscous. I was like really blown away by that, and he does appetizers and all kinds of stuff. He's a really good cook, so go check him out. Know Nothing Cook. Also, if you're interested in the Chef of the Future seasonings that I use, go to www.chefofthefuture.com to order some seasonings. And I guess that's all I've got today. Go feed your family. Bye-bye.